Hello, and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me is the one I summoned,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Via Magica. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right, often referred to as Gamer Bingo, players are trying to complete portal cards by placing crystals on symbols that match the symbols drawn from the bag. So, Will, why did we get this?
Well, we got Rise of Augustus, which I absolutely love, and Sarah, not so much.
Because of the theme, not the gameplay.
Right, because of the theme. So when she found out about this through probably one of your podcasts that you listen to?
No, I think it was on Twitter. It was either a podcast or Twitter, but I'm pretty sure it was Twitter. And I have no idea how it came across. But someone was saying that this was available on Board Game Arena, and it was a re-theme of Rise of Augustus. Oh, I think it was. I brought up the conversation about how I would have liked to teach my coworkers Rise of Augustus, except the theme is not approachable. And so someone responded saying, oh, well, check out Via Magica.
So she was all over that, quickly ran over to the online sites, ran through everything she could possibly think of, finally found one copy.
One copy on Miniature Market. Sorry, everyone. As far as I know, I have the last copy. But I'm hopeful the company might reprint it at some point. It was in 2020, so it wasn't that long ago, but it kind of fell under the radar as far as I know. But it is on Board Game Arena, so it is available to play.
Yes.
And I would say that the magic theme, while it does have some issues, is more approachable. But, yes. So let's move on to what we like about the game. We can start with the theme if you want.
Yes, this is all about portal research.
Yeah.
And whenever they do magical stuff and they bring it into some game type experience, it's all about being the valedictorian of your magic school. And so that's the theme they went with here. Whether you like that or not is subjective. I will say it is much more approachable for those who aren't big into a more historical theme, right, like Rise of Augustus. This can solve that problem for you. Mm-hmm. There's some stretches in terms of what's being done.
It's definitely not perfect, and I think that's one of those things that if they had just done a little bit more to... I guess the whole thing is that a lot of games where they make up a magical world, they don't do very much to flesh it out. And I guess maybe, just in my opinion, it wouldn't take a whole lot to flesh it out a bit more to make it make sense, in my opinion. But this gets that veneer of a magical school, some sort of competition thing. But it looks prettier. And it is nicer to get in front of people than the historical Rise of Augustus.
On the other hand, it's also less vicious.
Yes.
So in Rise of Augustus, you had a lot of cards and effects that attacked other players, which essentially made the game last longer. And with this being Gamer Bingo, that's not necessarily a great thing.
That is actually one of, besides not liking the theme of Rise of Augustus, that was the major complaint I had about the game. It overlasted its welcome a lot, almost all the time. Now, it'd be one of those games where I would never refuse to play it, but I would definitely never ask to play it. This version might change my mind on that, but I definitely appreciate they took out all those negative player interactions, so the game keeps moving forward. So if you're having a bad game, it'll be over soon. If you're winning,
just wait.
If you're winning, then it'll be over. Yeah, it'll be over soon. But yeah, they added where certain symbols can become wild, and there are people who say that really breaks the game. In my opinion, with how expensive it is to get those cards built and put in front of you and to be useful, I don't see how that... I mean, you'd have to have the perfect combination of cards and the draws perfect to get those cards early enough to really make a difference.
Yes.
And even then, the game's going to be over so quickly. You've won, yay, but then you play it again or play something else. So,
and a lot of times those cards also aren't worth a lot of points.
Right.
So there is that balance that they actually did look at, and because the game ends so quickly, you can do all the hypotheticals you want, but at the end of the day, it's a bingo mechanic,
Yeah.
and I can't claim to be that invested in.
The
Well,
balance of
these
it.
thing has to be perfectly balanced for me to enjoy it to the utmost. I had a good time.
Right. I mean, it did. I've talked to some people where that aspect did put them off the game, and it's unfortunate. But I guess I bring that up is that could happen. We've played it several times now, and while people have gotten those, something becomes a wild cards, no one's gotten so many of them that they've just been able to build cards up the wazoo. And even then, you're racing for seven cards.
Yeah, 7 cards.
So if you get to 7 cards real quick, the game's over.
I've also had times where I've built one of those cards and like, oh, now I have the white element, which is the most basic, easiest one to get. It's a
Most
wild,
common.
most common, and it
never
gets pulled,
it never does.
and I lose.
So your mileage may vary, but that aspect has not so far turned us off from the game in terms of the balance. Yeah, so that's what we like about the game. And then the few things we don't like was, as we talked, the theme is a bit nonsensical, but it's more palatable than the historical dry, beige or sepia tone colors of Rise of Augustus.
I think what it comes for me is that they chose a theme and they actually did put effort into trying to make that make sense. The problem is they didn't modify that, what I would call a fairly generic magical theme, and shape it around the game. Rather, they did it the other way around and tried to shape the game around the theme.
Yeah.
Which felt a little bit pasted on at points. I think they could have done more and made the theme more flexible and had a better end product. Overall, though, I instead of I think it's Via Caesar in one game you yell incantatum.
Yeah.
So that was cute. And
That was Ave Caesar. Ave Caesar?
yeah, probably. I think it was Ave Caesar. Now that,
I never remember to say any of those words, so
that's why you don't win.
I guess that's why
You're
don't
not
win.
summoning portals correctly.
Evidently.
Incantatum.
The only other major issue we had is some of the icons are small and also not great contrast. The brown against the dark gray. But the good news is it's all open information. So if you are having trouble seeing them and or understanding the iconography at the bottom, the back of the rules do have all that breakdown of the icons. But the good news is the tokens that get pulled from the bag are really nice and large. So you can call them by their color and just say, I pulled a red or I pulled a white or a brown or whatever. If you don't want to remember fire, water, earth, whatever, because there's earth and life, which confuses me. One's brown, one's green. So there's that. I'll talk on the theme one more, and that's it, is this. Before I knew this existed, I actually was thinking about attempting to re-theme Rise of Augustus as a cooking competition show. And I thought that would work really well, is that you're trying to build recipes. And so the stuff being pulled from the bag is ingredients. And so you're trying to get the ingredients for your recipes. And the recipes are from different parts of the world or different chefs. So it really fell in line with the locations and the famous people versus, the regional cooking versus the chefs. So I just want to say that I am fine with the magical theme. I just still feel that they could have done more, like you said, to look at the game mechanisms and integrate the theme more into it to make it more make sense.
Yeah.
Because why are you getting these random things? Well, if you're doing a cooking competition, those are the rules of the game. Again, made up, but that's part of it, is that they are pulling random ingredients and you're trying to get what you need, type of thing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. On to rating.
On to ratings. So here at Rolling with Reviews, we each have 1d6 worth of rating to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, then we add those two numbers together to see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Via Magica roll for you?
It rolled a 4. Now, when I want to play Gamer Bingo, this is the version I will want to play. The thing is, I'm still not like greatly in love with the mechanisms, the theme integration. So it's probably not a game I'm going to suggest that often. It is very luck based, and I evidently make poor decisions in which cards to go for. So, I mean, I guess it's not all about winning, but it's about feeling like you're doing well in the game. And it just feels like there's times that's just not happening. And so overall, it's a game I enjoy. If someone else wants to play it, I will play it, but it's just not high on my list.
For me, it also rolled a 4. Pretty much for the same types of reasons. When Gamer Bingo comes up, I'll reach for this. However, I also feel the same way about Rise of Augustus. It would also probably be a 4 for me. So these games are interchangeable, in my opinion. Sometimes I feel more aggressive, so maybe I will go for the Rise of Augustus. Sometimes I just want it to be shorter, so maybe that's when I will lean towards Via Magica. Either hand, I'm not really being demanded of a lot from these type of games because it is the Gamer Bingo. That's not to say there isn't choice, because I do have to consider the probabilities and there are better moves than others. But overall, I usually pick this up for the social aspect, not so much the heavy game experience.
That's true.
So that's why 4 is the right spot for me. Better than average, but still not the best thing in the world that you could reach for on your shelf.
I will, because I doubt we're ever going to do a video on Rise of Augustus, I will say I would probably rank Rise of Augustus a 2. There's just so much I don't like about the theme. I just don't find it engaging, and I do not like the negative player interaction. So I would always pick this over Rise of Augustus, and there are so many other games I would pick over Rise of Augustus. I don't hate it. It's not a 1.
Take that, Rise of Augustus.
But it's a 2, so.
But Via Magica,
yes,
rolled an 8 out of 12 for us. Better than average?
Yes, so it's still a really good, enjoyable game. If you can find a copy, it's a good one to have for filler type games, either with casual gamers or between or whatever, whenever you would play filler games, and or check out Board Game Arena to play it.
Yes. So that will do it for us here at Rolling With Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling With 2, that's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
And in Contatum, we've been Rolling With Reviews.